Hiya! Thank you for joining me today. As I said in my last video related to Ask Me Anything, I had a very interesting question from Mandy. Mandy, who is otherwise known on YouTube as 1221962. So I assume you are born on the 12th of February 1962, Mandy? I don't know. Is that the code? Who knows? Sorry if I've let stuff out there, I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, I had a question from Mandy, and I wanted to give that a little bit of time because it was quite a sort of detailed question that I thought would be a good one to spend a bit more time on. So the question from Mandy that I received was, when you started going out to bars, pubs, dance clubs, that kind of stuff, did you go out fully dressed or did you slowly add more each time you went out? So I thought this was a very interesting question because it actually made me think about something that had never really even occurred to me, which was the idea of publicly, let's say, publicly evolving your look, but evolving in terms of adding more and more to it. I did most of my my sort of evolution of my look for the most part in private. So I dressed for quite some time before I ever went out. I knew I wanted to go out. I knew I wanted to actually get out and enjoy myself and meet other people. Online stuff is great opportunity to chat with people online. It's always fantastic, really fun, and you can sort of talk with people, etc., and exchange ideas. But there's nothing really like meeting people in person. There's nothing like feeling you're doing something that is, it's daily routine stuff. It's just part of what you do with your life, and it makes it much more normalized. It makes it much more interesting to go out and have a bit of fun. And it doesn't feel quite so private, obviously, but it also doesn't feel so sort of I don't know, naughty or wrong when you take it out in public. It's basically, rather than hiding it away from the world, it's you saying that this is my face, this is who I am, this is how I go out. And on occasion, not all the time, but some of the time, it's a really nice sort of liberating thing to do. But I did all of my prep work in private, so I got to the point where I felt I was, let's say, suitably competent enough to go out. I hadn't done any makeovers. I hadn't had any makeup tuition. I did everything at home. I bought all my own stuff. I bought all my own makeup, I bought all my own dresses, all my own clothes, everything. I sorted out everything myself. My shoes, the lot, the wig. I got everything done based on what I thought. And I'd seen pictures of people, you'd seen maybe YouTube videos, stuff like that. And I was doing what I thought was the sort of appropriate way to dress and go out on the evening. And so when I went out for the first time, no, there was no sense of evolution to it because it was a big bang. I plucked up the courage. As I mentioned in my last video, I went out to B&O night, which is big night out, big sort of trans night on a Friday at Pink Punters nightclub. And I went there for, like I said, Friday night I was there for probably 2 or 3 hours, and not too long. But I got there quite early and I paid my money as I went in. I was super nervous, but people were generally really cool. And I met someone who I spoke to for the entire evening. And we exchanged information, we exchanged stories, we sort of talked about things. I was obviously very nervous. I was quite sort of tremulous, and but I was really happy about one thing. I'd managed to do this on my own. I hadn't arranged to meet anyone. I had no real knowledge of what I was going to walk into. I'd never seen the place before. I didn't know the layout. I had to kind of stumble my way in. And I was really pleased in hindsight that I'd had the courage to do that. And believe me, if you're struggling with the idea of going out for the first time, or you're thinking, it won't be good, etc., this kind of night, which is a trans night, there will be all sorts of people there, and it's a really nice way to get out there. If you think maybe you can't do this, I was nowhere near as confident as I am today when I first went out, but I managed to get up enough confidence to be able to go out and have a pleasant night. didn't blow my mind, but it was a nice, pleasant night, and it got me into the mindset of thinking, I can do this. I can do this now, I can do it again. So that was my first time ever out. Like I said, on my own, met up with someone, chatted, and I went out what I considered to be looking my best. Now, what I looked like was this. So that right there is what I looked like the first time I went out. In fact, I'd say that's considerably better than the first time I went out, because back then I was trying to do all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And one of the things I was trying to do was I was trying to cover my eyebrows with wax. So to give you an idea of what happened to me on the night, back then I used to cover my eyebrows with glue them down. Then I used to try and use wax to cover them over, give yourself a very sheer finish. You can see in the photo that I had there, I'm not using wax, it's just glued down. I put foundation over the top, so you can really see the sort of furrows and the ridges of where my eyebrows are glued down underneath. And not a great look when you get close up, so always best to avoid that if you can. But I was using wax on this night. And I'll tell you what happened, because it wasn't something I realised until later. The wig that I'm wearing in the picture is the same wig that I wore on the night out. In the picture, it's sort of tied back it's got a bit of a scrunchie going on behind it. But in reality, it was a great big sort of wavy Spanish, sort of almost flamenco style, frankly, almost Diana Ross style big wig. Big wig. I had this big wig on, and the head was down, and it was away from my face. And what I hadn't realised during my night out, my first ever night out, is that I'd applied the wax to my eyes, and I had drawn on my eyebrows over the top. And over the course of the evening, I don't know how, the wax had cracked, and some of it had come away, and what you could basically see was the drawn on eyebrow and then a sort of gap with my natural eyebrow underneath covered in glue, and then more drawn on eyebrow, so it had cracked, creating these sort of fissures in my makeup where you could see the pretty awful natural eyebrow underneath, big bushy eyebrows underneath. And so that was one of those things where if you go to B&O, they have house photographers you go around, nice guy, and he took my photo. I was really up for it. I thought it'd be fantastic. When I checked the Pink Punters website, in the gallery section, and I saw my photo for that evening, I was mortified. I was absolutely mortified by what I looked like. So I know now that when I went out for the first time, I didn't look anything like this. I did not look my best. I mean, I'm not wearing a lot of makeup today. I'm wearing fairly minimal makeup for me. So it's certainly not like I'd go out in the evening, so I've kind of toned it down a bit today. So I didn't have the time to do the full-on stuff. So, and this is me now toned down. But I didn't look anything like this when I first went out. So it has been an evolution. I have evolved my look over time. What really happened was I got an opportunity to see what I look like. I got an opportunity to see what I look like with a flash going off in your face in a nightclub with obvious makeup problems. And I don't have that picture anymore. I wish I did, because if I did, I would share it. But I don't have that picture anymore. And that was really what convinced me that I needed to put more effort in, and I needed to find better ways to do things. So over the next year, I would say, by going to makeovers, by studying more on YouTube clips, by going to see Mac, having a makeover at Mac, which was fantastic, I got much better, much more educated on different ways to handle things. The whole sort of covering your eyebrow thing is fine, and that works for some people. I just don't bother today. I pluck my eyebrows slightly. I keep a sort of decent shape to them, but nothing too thin, too feminine. And I've gotten used to the idea that I'm not going to have sort of super arched eyebrows. I don't need that. I find other ways to sort of feminize my face other than having super arched eyebrows. So I choose to have a sort of a compromise between my daily life and my going out life. And it seems to work quite well for the most part. But that does mean that over time I did evolve my look. I did change. I did update things. The dress I wore, I don't think I ever wore that again on my first time out. I don't think I ever wore that dress again, and rightly so. It was not a good dress. So there was plenty there that needed to be looked into, and there was plenty of room for improvement. And over the last 2-3 years, I've made what I consider to be an awful lot of improvements. Because it was 3 years ago. That was the first time I went out, 3 years ago. Was about the first time I went out to Pink Panthers. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much to Mandy for sending that one in. That was fantastic. It was a really good question, and I really appreciate you taking the time to think about this and put such effort into sending me the question. If there are any questions from anyone else, please do let me know in the comments or through some form of private message. I really look forward to hearing from them. It's fascinating to hear the different things that people want to ask me. Like I said, I will pretty much answer anything. So at the moment, given the volume of questions I'm getting, I pretty much guarantee that I'm going to answer it directly through a video. And I look forward to receiving some more stuff from you. If there are any comments on going out, on this particular question, anything you want to either comment on or give me some more information about, or simply to ask as a follow-up question to this, please let me know in the comments down below. As always, I'll get back to everyone and every comment that I receive, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, and bye! Bye!